And welcome into tonight's edition of Winner of the Mailman. Speaking of winners, we've got 4 of them sitting right here. Gering High School Wrestling Team. We got Ashton Dane here. We got Jacob Awiszus, Collin Schwartzkopf, and Coach Jarred Berger here from the 7th place Gering Wrestling Team. And guys, congratulations on what was a great season, what was a great tournament, and welcome into tonight. Ashton, so tell us a little bit about what happened last year compared to this year.
Last year I was kind of suffering a knee injury, and I feel like it was a little bit of a setback, but this year I recovered and went through a lot of mental, I don't know.
Well, retribution.
Yeah.
You got retribution from last year. You and Jacob both got retribution from last year. And so, obviously everybody kind of knows what it's like or what it would be like to win a state championship. What's it finally feel like to get to the top of that podium?
It feels good. It's been a goal of mine since I was really young. And that was my main goal. It feels good to actually achieve it.
Coach Berger, you had a great group of kids this year, just like you did last year. You and I talked after you got hired, and what you've done with this team has been incredible. And tell us about this team and what you got coming up.
This team was a different group of guys for sure. We had for a change with upper weights that were tough. We had Ashton was a hammer, but we had these upper weights that we never really had. It's always been lower middle weights. And so to have upper weights was a little bit different for us this year. It was actually a relief, to have good upper weights. And this team was hardworking. It was a different group of guys. A lot of inexperienced guys. Aside from these guys, a lot of guys just had never been in varsity really, or never been in the state tournament. So, in the previous team, we had a lot of guys that were kind of they were grizzled. They'd been at the state tournament, and they won districts, and so it was a little bit different mindset. It took us about 3/4 way through the season so we got to figure it out. We know what we're doing now, and the guys got to turn it around. Districts, we didn't wrestle great at districts, but we knew that states where we wanted to be our best, and that's we shined. We had guys who went there and they competed and came away with a lot of hard work. So that was pretty cool.
You kind of covered something there that I kind of noticed throughout the season was it did seem like late season when you guys kind of turned it on. I think that went over Scotts Bluff, and from there on, you guys kind of cruised out of it and wrestled really well. You got guys like these 3 guys with Collin, Jacob, and Ashton in the wrestling room with you. What does that translate to the other kids? I mean, you talked about you had a little bit of inexperience in there, but I know from experience, and I know from having a very extensive wrestling background, that when you have experience in the room, I mean, you can't do anything but work hard because they're not going to let you not work hard.
Yeah, iron sharpens iron, and that's what they always say, and that's the truth. I mean, Ashton's a great workout partner, Jacob's a great workout partner, Colin's a great workout partner, and for those guys that are inexperienced, it's good for them to see that, how what it takes to be a state champ and how much work and effort, every single day to come in and grind, even the days that you don't feel great or you're cutting weight or, those are the important days. So these guys set a good example for the rest of the young guys, especially to see, hey, we had some setbacks last year. Collin, he's made a huge turnaround, and for guys to see that, I think that's super motivating. Especially guys that they're hungry, they want to keep going, and that pays dividends, throughout the summer and the next year when the guys are prepared and ready to battle. They want that, to get that taste, to see it. Hey, if he can do it, then why can't I do it? So a great example for these guys to set going forward.
I was waiting for Collin to kind of work his way out of there and that Schwartzkopf to come out, because I've watched enough Schwartzkopfs in my life to know what potential you got coming on. So, Brianna, I mean, you and I, we watched these guys, match for match throughout districts and state, and what did you take out of this?
These are a tough group of guys, pretty much. Watching Jacob from districts versus state, you got him down at 7 seconds, and you looked like you were not going to let him beat you again.
Dig it, yeah. This is a kid you wrestled twice already this season. He got you at districts, and you weren't going to be denied. in that finals match. Do you think he kind of went in there thinking, I got him last time, I think I can get him this time? I mean, I know I sure as heck wouldn't be stupid enough to do that in the state finals match, but like she said, I mean, you jumped out in front of him right away, and then, you know, he really didn't have anywhere to go.
Districts, he kind of threw a different look at me, one that I hadn't really seen in practice, competition, any of that all year. But with Collin and Brock and I, we kind of worked on it all week leading up to state. And Collin and I, during state, when we were warming up together, that we kind of made sure to practice that shot that I took him down with right away. That we made sure that kind of he wasn't around able to see it, so he didn't know that that was kind of in my arsenal. But he dropped down to a knee right away, and it was there, so I hit it.
I mean, the look that you had after districts, I just looked over at you and you're like, oh, I'm beating him next time. That's legitimately what your face said. Like, if you got to face him again, you were coming out on top, which is what you did. So you just won your first title. So how are you feeling?
It still don't feel real.
Well, this is something you know, since last year, you know, losing the state championship match, I know this is something that you have been focused on every day since. And, I mean, you put your mind to it, and we had no doubt that, and I guarantee you Coach Berger didn't have any doubt either.
And I was waiting for that rematch.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of the way you tore your way through things, and I think you had one thing on your mind. It was a pit bull on a stake is what it was. And you went out and took care of it. And the thing is that when you got the kid from Beatrice again in the state final, because we looked at the brackets pretty hard, and I'm like, okay, good. You know, they're not on the same side of the bracket, and you know they can go into it, and you know he can and they can wrestle this thing out. But how important was it to have him in the state finals with you, because he's been your biggest adversary of the year?
It was great having him in the finals rather than anyone else, because the only loss of the season I was his only loss of the season, and I kind of wanted to prove that during districts that was a fluke and it shouldn't have happened.
And when we talked about this the last time you were on Winner in the Mailman, was the kid from Beatrice, and that was the one thing you had, the one thing that you were talking about. But anyway, congratulations. You know, we're so proud of you, and I think I've watched that video 20 times. I mean, I turn it on and just give him a big smile, like, and, you know, and he walks over and how did you not break your back jumping on you?
He jumped on Brock. That wasn't me. Ashton,
Oh, that was Brock.
Ashton's light. He's easy. I can catch Ashton all day. He would have knocked me down and hurt me, so I'm getting too old and frail to catch Jacob. But it's super exciting to see these guys achieve their goals. You know, watching them, you know, put all that hard work in, and that's like the best thing about coaching is I know what happens behind the scenes, and everybody gets, you know, see the glory, but behind the scenes stuff, that's stuff that counts. And these guys go out and achieve their goals. It's pretty cool to see. And to see the turnaround that Collin's had, it's like, man, I have a kid that come in is that hungry and willing to just put the time in and get better, and mentally just get better. It was the biggest turnaround he had, was that he started believing in himself, and that was like a switch. It was like, hey, I can compete with these guys. And he did, you know, up to the highest level. And, you know, there's one more step he's got to step on, and he's got a chance to do that next year, and you know, there's no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely. And Collin, you know, in my mind, you're still a state champion, because you drew a bully. You know, a lot of people can't ride. That guy was good. He was very good, and you know, like I said, Collin, I've watched your brother. I've known your dad since I've known your whole family since we were. But you know, this is the one thing. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to be at the top of that podium next year. And that's a lot of why we brought you in here today, because you're part of this. I mean, you're getting into the finals match and doing what you did this whole season is amazing. And you know, even getting second, and I know second place is the first loser. I hear all that and stuff. But how important was it for you, and how cool was it to be in that final match? Parade of Champions, everything, you know, going through that, you know, that whole beginning. How cool was that? Just to get there and get a taste of it.
It was a cool experience. It's nice to feel that experience going into next year. Now I have the experience of being in the finals. I don't have to put the stress on myself like I think I did in the finals this year, but next year I'll come back hungry, get the title I think I deserve.
I think you're already hungry. I don't think it ever goes away.
He's always
No.
hungry.
I think the moment that final was over, he was like, I'm winning next year. Is that pretty much how it was?
Yeah, I lost. I was a little mad after my match, but after I kind of cooled down, I was like, I got to get it next year.
Well, I think Brand even said something about, man, he looks.
Oh yeah, no, you were on the podium, you just looked like, oh,
I was
I'm
like, I
winning
can
next
only
year.
imagine what's going through his head right now. He's like, I'm ready to go. Let's go get this. One thing I wanted to talk about is, do you guys do any traveling? Any off-season travel, wrestling and stuff like that? Stuff that I didn't really have when I was growing up. And you wrestle the whole season in dual format, and then they throw you into a bracket format. When you get to districts and state and stuff like that. Knowing the two and barbecue thing, knowing that you've got that, how do you have to change that mentally to go from, well, I know I'm going to have 5 matches today to, well, if I slip up, make one wrong move, I'm wrestled back and there's nothing I can do. How does that affect you guys going into, I mean, you probably wrestle enough bracket tournaments that you can do it, but you wrestle an entire season like that, and then you turn around and wrestle in a bracket format. What's it like?
I try not to think about it that way. I mean, I take it one match at a time, like Jarred says, and first round, whatever, he'll give me a certain amount of takedowns to get, or Brock a couple times this year, give me a certain amount of turns I had to get and stuff. I use the first round match kind of as a tune-up, kind of why I got a tech fault first round of state, just a little tune-up first match and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Second match, a little more serious. Third match, even more serious, and I'm ready for the finals by the time final comes around.
And you mentioned something that I kind of want to direct back over to you. You give them a goal. You give them something to work with. Hey, I want to see you take this guy down, 4 or 5 times or whatever. Or, you guys get it, are with the way media is nowadays, are you guys able to get a lot on other wrestlers so you can, you work on that kind of stuff? Because you talked about, you were going to do a certain shot on Diggin, and, I guess I never thought about stuff like that. How does that work? When did that kind of come into your arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, we give these guys goals. I think, a lot of times, like Jacob said, it's different for each wrestler. So some wrestlers, like Jacob, say, hey, go out and get 5 takedowns, just to get some mat time, the first round or whatever. Or we'll say, hey, we need to go get bonus points, whatever it is. Go get a pin, go get a tech, go get a major decision. Some guys, it's don't get bonus pointed, don't get pinned.
Yeah.
So it kind of works depending on the wrestler, who it is, what we want to kind of give them to do. As far as film goes, yeah, there's a lot of outlets for that. A lot of guys film their matches, they'll watch them, and just like, that. We knew Deegan threw a curveball at us at districts. We didn't know how to handle it in the moment. Went back, watched tape. He worked on it all week with Brock and Collin. And then we had a game plan. Like I said, he had a game plan going in. We knew what we were going to do. We kind of, same thing with his finals match. We knew if we were the more physical wrestler, we'd eventually break him. We took him down, got on top, put the legs in, and it was, we knew we were gonna hammer him. So I mean, that's kind of
Ashton Dane legs?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, we just kind of same game plan we had with a lot. We kind of talked about that with the Schwartzkopf kid, because he's tough too. But we felt like if we got right positions, we were going to score points and eventually get the fall. Collin, semifinals guy, we knew he was a big athletic guy, and so we talked to him. We're like, look, we're going to gas him. We're in better shape. We knew we were in better shape, so we went and we pushed the pace all match long. And it didn't take. It was about third period. That kid couldn't even stand up, and we scored. It was close. We kept it close, but he couldn't take us down. We were in good position, and we gassed him. And by the end, he was tired. We got the points. We won the match. I think he got a stall point, and then we ended up taking him down because he tried to move. But bottom line is we knew what we had to do, and these guys are always great about just going out and following instructions and taking it to them.
That semi-final match, they kind of freaked me out a little bit when I was looking at it, because I'm like, oh man, this kid's pretty good. And you stuck him, didn't you?
No, I beat him 4-1.
Oh, that's right, it was 4-1. I got so many numbers running around in my head with, different brackets that I was looking at. We kept up with you guys so good. Brianna, what was, I guess I lost my train of thought there, but.
Well, I have a question for Ashton and Collin though. If you
Well,
want to regain
let's
that
do it. I'll
thought.
regain that thought.
So both of you are returning next year. So how are you feeling now that obviously you've made it to these finals? You won, you got second, going into next year.
I feel like we got to work as a team to get back. I want to win another state title as a team, and I also want to win one as an individual. But we got a good group of freshmen coming in, so we need to work with these guys, get them to where it's at, so we can, get back up on the board at the school. Take at least top 5 is my goal next year again, and I think we have the team to do that. So we just need to get on these guys, be good leaders, show them early, and then us just do what we do at every tournament.
Yeah, I agree with Collin. I feel pretty confident about winning state again as an individual, and I feel confident about our team next year. We have a good group of freshmen coming in.
Jacob, what's in store for next year?
I'm gonna be redshirting next year, but I'm gonna be going to University of Nebraska Kearney. That I'm gonna be cutting down to 174, kind of wrestling, wrestling as a red shirt for them and stuff, kind of getting ready.
Be a practice dummy for a while.
Practice dummy for a couple of years, yeah. Just kind of, next year's gonna be a big year making the transition into college wrestling, but I'm excited that I think I've got a good shot to break starting lineup here. Not next year because of red shirt, but that next year after, I think I've got a really good shot at breaking starting lineup and being that #1 guy for UNK there.
I call my buddy Ty. You can go work out with the high school kids for a while. And the old Mitchell boy, Ty Swarm.
Yeah.
But Ashton, you got another year coming back. Tell me a little bit about these guys. You guys talk about these guys coming up. I know there's Reese Knight and we got some other guys. Keenan's still, he's a junior, right?
Yeah.
Keenan's still a junior. Talk a little bit about these other guys that are coming back with you guys next year that can make a difference for you.
I know most of these other guys have the potential to be good. They just, they need to believe in themselves, basically. If they can believe in themselves and they get, they'll get a lot better and they will be up there with us.
I'm sure Coach Berger, I'm sure he agrees with me. The way I look at it is you can't be there just to be there. You got to go there to wrestle. I mean, there's no, you make the trip to Omaha, great dandy and everything, but you got to go into it wanting to win, or you're going to get smacked around and you're going to get hammered. Is that something that you guys try to embed in these younger guys that, hey, if you qualify, don't just be a qualifier, go down there and be a placer, be a champion. Who else can we talk about that's coming up for you guys next year? Because Collin talked about, possible top 5 finish, and I know you've got a good freshman class coming in, and Reese, is he a freshman already?
He'll be a freshman next year.
He'll be a freshman
so
next
we
year.
have Reese Knight, he's tough. Jane Hackert, so Brayson, one of our varsity guys, little brother, he's tough. He'll be in there. AJ Stone's little brother, Ashton Stone, he's a good little wrestler. Chase Regenerator, a couple of big guys, Kate, first name is Tyler Kate, yeah. I don't know all the freshmen, but we have a great class coming up that we're excited about. We had a state qualifier, didn't qualify this year, Jordan Shirley, he was state placer last year. He's gonna be back. He'll be back next year. He's only gonna be a junior, so he's tough. And so I think all things considered, yeah, these guys got a good winter champs are made in the summer. We know that, so it starts now. These guys are getting prepared to go to Reno in a couple weeks to compete, and it starts now when these guys get better. And then that freshman class coming in is such a big step. Going from wrestling for about a month and a half, maybe wrestling a few tournaments, very local, to wrestling. We wrestle a tough schedule. Purposely we wrestle tough schedules so that we're prepared to come district state. And to your point, you talked about duels. I'm not a big fan of dual tournaments, so we actually don't wrestle a big dual tournament schedule. I pick and choose. I try to find as many big tournaments as we can, so that we are prepared, you know, so guys can learn how to get beat, come back and compete, and score more points for us. So it puts guys in position so they're prepared for districts and state, you know, making weight 2 days in a row and that kind of thing. So we're excited. I'm excited for what we have coming up. I mean, we have, you know, got a great group of guys coming back that are still hungry, you know, and then we got good kids coming up. So we're ready to go.
And congratulations on, like I said, a great season. 7th place. Still, I mean, with taking 8 kids, it's not bad, man. You guys scored some points in the semis and the finals and stuff, and I was kind of hoping you guys could get a leapfrog in there. I think was Beatrice right in front of you.
Yeah, a couple points in front of us.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping you guys could jump over those guys, but hey, it came out the way it did, and we were excited to get you guys here to talk about this. I know that, anyway, Coach Berger, thank you guys for coming in tonight. I know for Brianna, I don't know if she's got anything left for you, but thank you guys for hanging out and waiting for the mailman to get here, because it was a tough day on the street. So for myself and Brianna,
Well, thank you all for joining us, and
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
we would
thanks
love
for
to see
having
you
us.
guys win more in the future. Especially you two, since you're going to be here next year. Since you're going to be redshirting, we want to see you on that mat in 2 years.
and I'll call Ty. He'll keep me updated on what's going on with you.
So for more sports coverage, you can go to star-herald.com or pick up a print edition anywhere you can find them, and we will see you all next week.